They say history is written by the victors, but sometimes it's edited by those who fear what the truth reveals. Across medieval Europe, from frost-bitten scriptoria in Normandy to candlelit cloisters above the Rhine, respected chronicles suddenly skip entire years with no explanation, as if someone took a knife to time itself. Those gaps aren't accidents. They're surgical cuts, clean, deliberate, clustered around the same unnerving decade, 1242 to 1251. Tonight I'll walk you through the scraped pages, the silenced scribes, the physical traces in stone and glass that prove our timeline was corrected, whether we like it or not. And by the end, you'll wonder if the date on your phone is as solid as it seems. We're standing in a stone scriptorium, northern France, winter of 1242. A monk hunches over parchment, his breath fogging the air as candle flames dance across the page. He's finishing his year's entry. Spring floods that drowned the lower fields, a bishop's fevered death, a comet streaking low over the abbey walls. His quill dips into the inkhorn one last time. He begins a new line. And in that year he came to us, speaking not of sin, but of the years themselves, saying that our age was not the age we believed. The ink stops mid-word. The line trails into a thin, shaky smear. No blot, no tear, just nothing. 10 years later, a different hand picks up the chronicle. The writing is firmer, less hurried. No mention of visitors, no hint of debate or interrupted sentences. Just the weather in 1252, a royal birth, the price of grain. As if the first monk's words never existed. This isn't one abbey, it's dozens. From Normandy's windswept coasts to Bohemian hilltop monasteries, from Italian city-states to frozen abbeys above the Rhine. Chronicles that tracked every skirmish, every harvest failure, every passing eclipse, go blank for the same stretch. Historians shrug it off as lost manuscripts, clerical error, or damage from fire and flood. But when you line up unrelated sources, written by monks who never met, in languages they couldn't read, that explanation starts to fray at the edges. Under raking light, you see it. Not water stains or char, but precise scraping. Pumice or knife work, methodically erasing 7 to 10 lines per page, always around the mid-1240s. The parchment thins to translucency, exactly where names or dates should sit. To understand why scribes stopped writing, roll back a decade earlier. Europe in the 1230s buzzes with unease, not just about wars or plagues, but about time itself. Church councils don't debate only theology. They argue fiercely over Easter's true date, Christ's exact birth year, whether the calendar has drifted from the heavens. One Parisian synod in 1231 devolves into shouts. Some bishops claim we're already 2 years ahead of God's count. Others insist the entire Anno Domini system needs scrapping. Letters fly between prelates. A bishop in Mainz writes to Rome, "Too many men now scrutinize the years themselves. They say the count is false. If the numbering is false, what foundation remains for our faith?" That's not some wild-eyed mystic. That's church brass, sweating over calendars. Then the wanderers appear. Not typical heretics preaching against indulgences, but teachers carrying wooden tablets, portable star charts etched with interlocking circles, crosses, lunar cycles marked in unfamiliar notation. One surviving entry from a Bavarian abbey describes such a visitor at Vespers. Cloaked in rough wool, foreign accent clipping his Latin, no papers of origin. He unrolls his boards on the refectory table and traces lines with a charred stick. Eclipses that don't match royal annals, comets dated to wrong reigns, gaps where whole kings should rule but don't. His conclusion, per the monk, our century is borrowed, a miscount piled atop older drifts, like errors compounding in a ledger. The brothers debate late into the night. By dawn, the guest is gone. The next morning's entry? It records his name, or tries to. Under magnification, you see ghost letters, deeper ink penetration where 5 or 6 characters sat, now abraded to bare skin. Pumice marks radiate outward like a starburst. Someone came back with tools. By 1245, these teachers reach city walls and crossroads, not just abbeys. In Strasbourg, a municipal chronicler notes unrest. Townsfolk refuse a grain tax, claiming, "This year was already counted once, as the circle men teach." He calls them fools, but describes their signs, circles pierced by crosses, 7 dots ringing the edge, scratched into oak doorposts under moonlight. Bohemian parish logs mention pilgrims of strange geometry, camping in cathedral shadow, voices rising at midnight, numbers counted backward from 7, then silence. No weapons found, no inflammatory texts, just geometric diagrams raked in the dirt. Church response stays surgical. No public trials, no pyres in the square. Instead, quiet orders ripple out. Omit their gatherings from the logs. A margin note in a Florence archive, dated 1246, reads in hurried Latin, "Omit the circle and its seed, to oblivion." Then, across connected chronicles, the record doesn't just thin, it flattens. Battles that would claim half a page shrink to skirmishes in those days. Plagues get a footnote. Royal weddings? Ignored. A decade that should fill leather-bound volumes compresses to scattered phrases. One Alpine monk breaks the pattern briefly in 1247. The fathers gather to correct what must be corrected, for harmony's sake. His quill shakes on harmony. Ink blots the page. The next line jumps to 1255. Different ink, different hand. In the margin, a single word, oblivione, to oblivion. City tax rolls from the same years show anomalies too. Certain levies vanish mid-decade, reappear under new names. No explanation, just as if the interlude never needed funding or record. Imagine the scene in that scriptorium when the orders arrive. A sharp knock at the abbot's door, sealed letters from the nearest bishopric. The abbot reads by firelight, face hardening. He calls the head scribe. Certain matters will not be chronicled. Burn the drafts, scrape the masters. By morning, pumice dust coats the air. Monks work in shifts, knives whispering across parchment. Not wild destruction, precise surgery. Sentences about wanderers? Gone. Debates over borrowed centuries? Excised. The rhythm resumes. Weather, deaths, harvests. Neat, continuous. No one speaks of it. The next generation of novices grows up with seamless pages, trusting the count of years as gospel. Now picture the deeper cleanup, when parchment won't suffice. After 1251, tone shifts across Europe. New scribes write, "in those days," instead of dates, blurring years into fog. Movements tied to year correctors don't face excommunication, they simply vanish. No lists of heretics, just absence from the rolls. Meeting houses get razed under cover of expansions. In a Rhineland abbey, 1253 rebuilds uncover floor tiles stamped with circle crosses. Masons smash them quietly, relay fresh stone under mortar. No inventory kept. The old foundations? Buried deeper. By 1260, papal bulls ban geometric figures in sacred spaces as profane. Cathedrals sprout blank medallions on facades, smooth ovals where dates or patrons' names sat, chisel marks crisp amid untouched florets. 5 such blanks cluster in French and German churches, all dated to 1247 renovations. Royal seals tell the same story. A 1247 Sicilian document bears the circle cross. By 1255, it's melted, recast plain. English chancery rolls show similar overwrites. Ink lifted, new dates inked over ghosts. This isn't riot or rot. It's systematic. Names scraped, symbols buried, decades relabeled, lost records in later indexes. Fast forward to the Renaissance. Painters encode what blades missed. In obscure chapels, stained glass depicts kings offering burning books to stern angels, crowns half-etched with circles beneath gold leaf. Art historians label them iconographic anomalies. Captions? Scrape smooth. A Piedmont triptych whispers in Latin, "Who remembers, dies twice." Scholars call it moral allegory. The circle on the central throne suggests otherwise. Centuries later, traces fight back harder. Alpine villages preserve oral threads. The man without years, tall stranger arriving in wrong seasons, answering age with, "Those years were taken." Villagers reset clocks after he leaves. They run backward till dawn. The tale spans 3 language groups, predating printing. Modern archives mirror the old cuts. Vatican vaults hold Chronica Obscura, access barred till 2099 for chronological instability, a phrase appearing nowhere else. Notre Dame's 2019 pre-fire digs yield lunar stones etched 1247, plotting phases 9 years ahead, to 1284, as if folding the gap forward. Post-blaze? Heat compromised, vanished from manifests. Astronomers flag eclipse logs from Spain to Poland, identical 1-degree offsets, inconsistent with independent observations, as if star charts got synchronized post-silence. In 1974, Soviet archivist Polovic charts compression points, erasure clusters every few centuries. His final note, the erased king of the 13th. Months later, car crash on clear roads. Manuscript? Gone. Now let's connect what survived the blade and mortar. Physical erasures in 20-plus chronicles, precisely 1242 to 1251. Too surgical for flood or fire. Circle cross symbols appearing, then vanishing across 300 miles of stone, intact beneath overpaints. Margin orders. To oblivion. Blank medallions in 5 cathedrals, chisel fresh. Seals melted overnight. Folklore motifs, stolen years, matching scraped gaps spanning unrelated regions. Sealed archives citing timeline instability. Lunar stones projecting absences ahead. Eclipse offsets synced post-gap. 3 questions no textbook touches. First, why do 5 cathedral nameplates, scraped 1247, leave surrounding carvings pristine, chisel angles matching abbey tools from the decade? Second, if mere clerical quirks, why lock Vatican Chronica till post our lifetimes under instability no scholar can access? Third, why identical 1-degree eclipse shifts in logs from Iberia to Bohemia only during the silent stretch, as if calendars got universal recalibration? Official story holds, damaged vellum, local calendar drifts smoothed by Gregorian reform centuries later. But knife marks under angled light, matching symbols under mortar, folklore echoing half-erased sentences, the tidy narrative cracks. We know days vanished by decree in 1582, October 4th to 15th, poof. Why not years if stars and politics demanded? Authorities likely harmonized regional counts, no grand plot, just pragmatic edits. Scribes ordered silent. Or one voice, a wanderer with tablets, traveled cloister to cloister, proving the calendar's lie. His proof? Ink. His fate? Pumice. The horror isn't cults or curses. It's time, the constant you stake life on, as editable as a draft. Chains of medieval ink hold your today, half the links scraped or burned. Next phone glance, ask, solid fact or negotiated story? The erased decade proves history's no river. It's wet clay, malleable till set, then reshapeable with right tools. Listen past the official hum. Hear the scraping? It's ongoing. You've seen unburyable evidence. Decide, accident or architecture? Every timeline we trust, someone else's edit. And edits repeat.